The Daily Wire has released a trailer for their new series, The Pendragon Cycle: Rise of the Merlin. I already saw it, but Satirius has not, so he's going to see it for the first time here.
Ooh, I'm excited.
This land is in a welter of confusion.
Did you say nice bullhorn?
There are more
No, that's not
kings
what it
than
was?
sheep.
A bullhorn?
No, it just sounded kind of
Princes
pretentious, but all right.
Crows on a
Nice bullhorn.
All seeking
That was like
to
nice, a
snatch
bullhorn.
what they can, when they can, without a care for who suffers. Until this island is ruled by one who wields both justice
What does that music
and
kind of sound
mercy,
like?
there will be no peace.
Did it grow a little bit? That was cool.
Look at them. Boys playing the game of kings.
They say they have the Merlin with them. The Merlin died long before you and I were born.
I've seen what you can do.
Oh.
You forgot she was in here, huh?
Yeah.
This is where it begins.
What are your thoughts on the trailer just by itself?
Just the trailer? Am I looking at content or am I looking at the way that it looks?
Just your thoughts.
Or
What comes
just
to you?
whatever?
What comes to
My
your mind?
thoughts?
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Okay. Initially, it did seem a bit lower budget. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah, like no, it was still good. It was still higher
Uh-huh.
budget than a lower budget, but it wasn't. They were going for that. You ever seen King Arthur, or have you ever seen like
No.
the Vikings or anything like that?
No.
Well, the trailers are like
Sorry.
I don't know explain. They seem just more Hollywood, higher level, more money was put into the trailer, and their cutscenes from like scene to scene kind of almost seem like what I would see from a entry level movie studio.
Okay, interesting.
But
okay.
it's still interesting. I still liked it. It did seem a little bit lower budget,
Interesting.
in my
okay.
opinion. Yeah.
I was expecting lower budget, so for me it seemed higher budget. I was like,
Okay,
I was actually
nice.
blown away by the way it looked. It looked like an actual like series that I can see on HBO. I guess would be the only place that I can think of because of Game of Thrones. But
I don't know. It just didn't seem seamless. I don't know. That was my thought. It like from scene to scene in the audio did not seem very seamless, in my opinion.
But what does that have to do with the
So to me, I
The
feel
budget.
like you'd be able to transition better from one scene to the next, and then the music also sort of ties in a little better too when you're going from one song to the next. It didn't feel that way to me, in my
Okay.
honest opinion.
Wow, I highly disagree. I
Yeah.
thought it was very well put together. I really liked it a lot. I was expecting much lower though. My expectations were very low of this because
Mm-hmm.
it's just Daily Wire and they haven't made good movies in my opinion. So I was blown away by the way it looked. It looked like, I don't think you've seen it, but reminded me a lot of like the Lost Kingdom or the Last Kingdom. I forgot what it was, but it was some show that Gabriel's brother had recommended to me, and I watched it for a bit, but I wasn't super into it, so kind of stopped watching it.
Was that the Viking show? Actually, no. The one I was talking about, the Vikings, but it's similar to the Last Kingdom.
Yeah, there you go. It was.
Mm-hmm.
It was very reminiscent of that. It looked very. It was better than I thought it was going to be. So I thought it was good,
I do like that. Yeah.
and I'm actually very excited for it. The only critique that I have is that their suits, their armor, like their actual clothing, it does look a little too neat. They're supposed to be in like a medieval thing, and they're like fighting, and I don't know. Sometimes some of their shots, I was like, it's a little too clean. I don't know.
Too clean for
Yeah.
the scene that they were trying to give.
Yeah, but maybe it's just like I don't know what the context of the scene is, so maybe it makes sense.
Fair.
But that was my only critique, honestly. The everything else I was like, wow, this looks like an actual show. I'm excited. I think though that it's very interesting that there's only one brief shot of Brett Cooper in it. And you know what? I did remember that she was in here, but the entire time I was watching the trailer, I was just waiting. I was like, wonder where Brett's at.
Here's the thing
one
too,
little
though. I didn't give it its full justice because I was watching through your screen, and I do think there was some things I wasn't hearing fully, and it was a bit choppy here and there. So I will give that disclaimer a little bit. So it didn't sound like exactly what you were hearing or listening to.
Okay. Do you want to watch it on your own real quick?
Okay, let me watch it on my own.
What do you think? All right. So Soterius wanted to go watch it on his own because it's just I really think it's high, like it looks high value. So maybe it was like he's watching it through my screen. And I share my screen through him. So what do you think now?
It didn't seem high value to me. Well, okay. In the beginning, it didn't. Through your screen, it seems more higher value to me. I'm not convinced too much on the acting a little bit. Also, I just don't know who any of these faces are. That's the only thing I have.
You're not convinced on the acting based on what you saw or just the fact that you
based
don't
on what
know
I
them?
saw. Yeah. So
Really?
one thing I didn't like too much. Yeah. So it was the screaming of the guy. I don't know. That one seemed a bit. I need to know the context of it, but I just wasn't convinced in the scream. And then there was that scene where they kind of pan and those guys are sitting, staring. They're just like sitting on their horses with the guys surrounding them. For some reason, that scene just didn't seem real to me. It didn't seem, I don't know. I know it's such a small detail, but to me, I just wasn't convinced in that scene.
I think you're
really don't
nitpicking a lot,
articulate it
but I think as a whole, I do think it's like, well,
It's good.
Like my expectations, to be clear, were very low, and I do think that helps. When your expectations are low, like you tend to like things a little bit better. You think you'll watch it at all?
I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. I have to pay for the subscription.
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't mind, but it's just the Daily Wire has just done so many stupid stuff that I don't agree with. Alrighty, here's a statement that Jeremy Boring, who is the co-founder of the Daily Wire, put on his X account. As a teenager, Stephen Lawhead's The Pendragon Cycle reshaped my understanding of faith, courage, and purpose. It rejected the shallow, nice Christianity of my youth and revealed a kind of Christian whose faith was forged in blood and sacrifice. A world where the battle for king and country was inseparable from the battle for Christ and his kingdom. That story changed me, and I've spent years bringing it to life for the screen. This is The Pendragon Cycle, Rise of the Merlin, a new scripted series from Daily Wire and Bonfire Legend. Adapted from Lawhead's extraordinary novels, the cast and crew bled to make it. It is without question the largest and most ambitious production ever undertaken by a conservative new media company. It is also the most masculine, muscular work of Christian art since Braveheart. And it begins with the sword. So that's what he the background that he gave. So that's where I found out, like, oh, it's an actual book. It's not just like they wrote it or they bought a script from something, like, oh, it's a book that they're adapting. And so keep that in mind when we get to this next part. Well, but before we get to the next part, sorry. Do you like the fantasy genre in general?
I do.
Do you?
I'm not as big into it, but I do enjoy it. Yes.
Okay. And then, okay, I guess I already asked you if you would watch it.
I don't know. So I want to add more to that bit right there because I am a fan of the King Arthur story, the underdog, Sword and Stone. He's the chosen one, the classic hero story.
Oh, okay.
But he comes from nothing, but he's actually something. That's great.
Nice. Okay, so moving on. Keep in mind that it's a book. What do you think now of this take? So this was from Pop Culture Crisis after they had watched the trailer.
Okay.
This is what one of their guests said about it.
Seamus, I saw you flinch a couple of times.
Yeah, so initially I was very impressed. The production value is very clearly high, and it's obvious that they're trying to make something that can compete with mainstream Hollywood. I have no idea why there needed to be a half-naked woman prancing around in her underwear. I have no idea why there needed to be a scene of two actors making out. I think that conservatives can't win the culture war without making culture, and our culture can't feature the devil's iconography. We can't use the tools that have been used against us to subjugate us in our own media. Porn has been used as a tool for political control. We are weaponizing people's lust to make them complacent, and the conservative movement cannot engage in that tactic to gain a modern audience, because if we do so, we've already lost. We've become the left. This would be like if 50 years from now, someone goes, I'm making entertaining content, but of course we have to put trans kids in it, and it's still conservative. Like, we can't just be progressives who drive the speed limit.
Well,
Okay. So what do you think of that argument that he's making? I found it very interesting.
The argument of the idea of still sexualizing some of your content in order to remain relevant. That argument?
I don't know if he's saying in order to remain relevant, but he's just saying, why do you have half-naked women in your show if you claim to be conservative?
So that
yes,
argument.
That's the argument that I think he made, yeah.
Okay. I think think it's a fair point. So when I was
Okay,
thinking about it,
wait.
he was-
Sorry. Before you get into that, so what did you think
Yeah.
when you saw like the half naked woman or whatever?
I was just about to get into that. So I'm conditioned to kind of just accept it. I didn't even flinch at the idea. I was like, okay, cool. And the first thing I thought was she's attractive, right?
Right.
Like if I'm gonna be honest and real, she was attractive. And in the kissing scene, I'm so conditioned and used to it. It's like, okay, cool. They're telling a story here. I didn't see it as like, oh, this is a Christian, what do you call it, a production studio, and then they have to make everything absolutely perfect. That wasn't at the forefront of my thought, if I'm being honest. And so when he brings up this point, because it reminds me of an earlier argument we have where everything's so hypersexualized, like it kind of brings me back and think, well, yeah, you're right. Like, could you have done this scene and not have a half naked woman in there and a scene of two people kissing? Which I don't think kissing is an issue. It's how they portray that intimacy.
Well, they were like
is
they were
where I
like
have an
half
issue.
naked, but yeah.
Okay, so if they were half naked, then obviously then that's like, yeah, we don't necessarily need to entertain it if you're going to claim to be a Christian
Yeah.
production studio.
This is where I fully disagree with him, and I guess a little bit you two now would be.
Mhm.
I think it's completely fine. I think he's just being, whatchamacallit? I don't know. He's being one of those annoying Christians who's like, we got to remain pure and this and that. And I'm just like, no, you can still have nudity for the sake of art. Just because like they do this one thing where it's either black or white, and all nudity in media is bad because it's a choice and you can choose not to make them naked, and you have to have no nudity. And I'm just like, no, we can do artistic nudity in a way that's tasteful and that still portrays something that adds something to the story. I do think that can be done and that has been done. You know, I do think. I'm not saying it's necessary, but I'm just saying, especially when it comes to telling these kinds of stories, I do think so long as it's tasteful and artistic, it's fine and can still be Christian. I don't know though. I'm not going to speak for you guys because I'm not Christian. I'm atheist / agnostic, but that's how I see it. Because I get the whole hypersexualized. Everything is hypersexualized. There's half naked women everywhere now, but just because the world is hypersexualized doesn't mean you have to be so reactive to it in the way that he was, in my opinion.
He was aggressive with it for sure. Simply put, if you don't want to watch it, then you don't watch it, right? I go back and forth with it because I'm very much conditioned to seeing it.
But I would say though, if you can't watch an artistic portrayal of somebody nude, that really is a you problem. I get like if it's like actual like, okay, this seems like they're going overboard and they just want to put nudity in here for degeneracy or whatever. That I get, because there is a line, right? The way Game of Thrones did it, I would say, okay, that was no longer artistic. That was, you're just kind of putting it in there to I don't know, add nudity. But there have been stories where I see and I'm just like, okay, like it makes sense as to why, right? And in this case, because it is based off a book, I that's where I also gravitate towards too, where it's like maybe in the book they're portrayed a certain way. Maybe I don't know how these characters are. I don't know what this is. Maybe those people from that tribe or area or whatever, that's how they dress and they see their culture differently or whatever, you know? And that,
so I was going to get into that. When you're a movie studio and you're trying to stay true to the story, then I give a little bit more grace to the consistency you're trying to hold to the story.
But
right?
that seems a bit like a cop-out, which is why I didn't want to get there immediately, because
it is very much that, right? It's like, okay, but then don't make that content, or you can re-portray it a different way. Nobody's holding a gun to your head and saying you need to put a half-naked woman in there. I do think you can portray her in a way that has more clothes on her, right? And then the same thing, the whole intimacy between two people who are genuinely in love with each other. You can take it as far as that you're showing that they have intimacy. I don't want to see the whole sex scene. I really don't care, nor do you have to make any sort of innuendos to show what they're doing. Or to, you know, I just don't need any of that. But you can show like the kiss. I honestly, none of it struck me, but I also think that's just my conditioning to just seeing this stuff and I don't flinch. Right. I just, oh yeah, this is a normal movie or a normal show. But I do have an issue. Like if they start to get hypersexualized for the sake of just showing sexualization in the show, that's where I'll have issue with Jeremy Boring and his team who claim to be Christian. But if it's really pins a point in the storytelling, then I'm okay with that generally, right? And it's like you're not fixated on trying to make this person hypersexualized or this whole thing. It's just that's what you need to tell in the story, and you move on and you keep telling the story the rest of it.
Yeah,
that's my whole take with it.
Yeah,
no, it was not that.
Yeah, no, Game of Thrones was definitely not that.
Right. Though it was still good storytelling when they told the story.
So ultimately, Daily Wire's point here, from what everything that I've read and seen, is that they want the story to be first. They don't want people to be able to even tell that a Christian wrote this or that it has that in there. I think that's good and that's cool. And in order to do that, you do need to kind of placate a little bit to what Hollywood is doing nowadays. Not a lot. I think if you just go back to how Hollywood used to be, and then from there kind of keep progressing, keep going back, just make good stories that people find cool, and eventually you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
But that's how I see it. But I think that guy is largely, that being said, he does have principles and morals and he sticks to them, and that I respect. But again, we are still fighting a culture war, and there are different ways to fight it. You don't know, and you don't know this about him because I haven't told you, but he's actually making his own series that is also Christian and conservative or whatever, but that is also story based and supposed to be really good. I actually was going to add it to this topic, but he has it behind another paywall. I have to pay $25 to be able to see the pilot. And I'm like,
really?
Yeah. And I'm just like, why would you do that?
That's free?
No, I only searched for like 5 minutes, but that's all I care to search for. Because I went to his website, I watched the little 4-minute video he did where he was just talking himself up about how great he is and how he can do this, which is fine. I assume that's what he needs to do to sell it. But I'm also thinking if you had put like 10 minutes of the first episode or because I think he said it was 24 minutes long, the pilot. So put the first 5-10 minutes of it up and the rest behind the paywall, and then, in that way. But I'm not going to support something and then what if it sucks,
And he put no free trailer out there, nowhere.
Not that I could find. Again, I only did 5 minutes.
Okay.
I went to his website. I clicked on one video, and then after that, it was just like, here's where you can donate. And I was like, ugh.
Okay.
Just, I don't know. I'm not saying it's what he's doing, but to me, just the way it was all set up felt like a cash grab.
Yeah.
But he does seem like he's principled and moral. So I don't think that's what he's doing. I just wish he had thought better on the tactic of this because it's I don't know. He almost had me. But then I'm like, no, I'm not going to pay money if I can't see it first.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, let's
spin the
move
wheel.
on. Oh, nice. And to be clear, to close it out, we're rambling about this topic because we care and we do want to see, even though I'm not Christian, I do want to see those values win. So that's why I'm so adamant and passionate to talk about it. Well, what did we get? What would you do?
Oh, we got